All right,
You
D&D.
show me. Yeah, D&D.
I actually do
I
have to
really
admit
go
here,
on.
I take performance-enhancing rolling drugs.
Whereas McDohl always takes the non-GMO shit. That's why he rolls
Yeah.
ones.
I can't help it. I live in
Can't believe I don't
California.
have my fucking lemon drink.
That's true. McDohl does. He lives in California. He can't get GMO anything. It's all organic out there. Gross. All right, so you're going to bring the illithid up into this library. Is that correct?
That's the plan.
That was kind of the plan, yeah.
Okay.
While they're doing the, I just want to like grab like as many random books as I can and just leaf through them looking for anything.
Do you read Drow?
No, I'm looking for pictures mostly. Like pretty pictures.
Are you looking for
Pretty
dirty pictures?
No, not pretty pictures, just like specifically runes.
Specifically
Naked
brooms?
Drow.
You do not
Brooms.
find any picture of brooms. As you're flipping
Rune. You know what I said.
through. You said brooms.
No, I
You
said
think
runes.
Inkach is a witch with a pointy hat and a black cat. That's what you said.
Adrex takes out his crayons and starts drawing.
Brick, I think he's looking for magic shit.
Yeah, I know. There are 3 runes on the 3 spell stones that you took. And I will show
Yeah.
those to you in a minute.
Well, I was just like, to give you time, I was just like looking through the books. Since obviously we're gonna have to fight the illithid over them.
No, we're keeping the stones. You can have all the books.
Well, I mean, unless I find something interesting in one of the books, in which case I'm going to pocket it.
Well,
You
don't-
say something interesting in one of the books, and Adrex looks at you like you're insane.
Immigr's layout's all different now, and
Yeah.
it looks weird.
Adrex throws a book at Birdie. Specifically trying to hit him with the edge of a book.
As long as he's not chewing on the books, that's fine.
I know,
You just
say
start-
that-
Start
are you
drawing.
saying it to Adrex or
To herself more than anything.
The answer to that is yes.
Adrex will probably eat a book.
All right, I want to go ahead and load in a tablet, so hopefully this doesn't crash anybody's tabletop simulator.
Oh man, if Adrex eats a magic book, does that make him a magic creature?
Yes.
You're like a dragon man that vomits ice.
He's
That's
a-
perfectly natural.
Is he a dragon man or a dragon man?
This tablet is on its dice, and none of them are. And it's driving me nuts.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like I'm trying to move it, and it's not. Like, I can't pick up anything. Like, all the options.
we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Tabletop was in the process of crashing for a second, but then it didn't, so everything's fine now.
Okay.
So,
if
just so you know,
everybody will
Miguel,
move-
I have a little ritual. Well, I didn't mean to lock that. I meant to, yeah. Anytime I do anything embarrassing in this room, like I always glance up to see if my webcam's on first. Make sure that, you know.
And then you do it.
Only if it's
'Cause
on.
you see it's on.
Only
Yeah.
if it's on.
Right. That's the way to do it.
This is one of the runes that you see.
Okay, if everybody will move their fingers.
Or was mine in the way?
Yes, thank you.
I was looking at a different window.
Tell me when you're.
I've got that one.
Okay. This
Which one of
is
these?
the second of them on the second spellstone.
Alright. Oops. I don't have this one. Give me a sec.
This looks almost exactly the same.
Move your hand, Nodal.
Really?
No, he's talking to me. That was my.
I'm pink.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Treble is red, yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, what the heck?
Okay. Last one.
Okay. That's the third one.
Ooh, this is new.
Ooh. Move orange, please.
God damn it!
McDohl.
It's like, I just want to touch the tablet.
Okay, I got it. You can poke at it now.
Boop.
You have to click the OK button.
Whoa.
To show you porn. Is that okay? Yeah.
Wow. A D20 made a noise.
They should put like analytics in it. Brickard wants to show you porn, but we're pretty sure it's pretty good. Is that okay?
7 out of 10 people recommend this porn.
I only like really boring porn. I would probably put y'all to sleep.
So I like the sound effect that dice make when they fall on the tablet.
All right, Birdie. Which one of these sets my axes on?
I will let you know because that is on my list of things to do. Like I've got like a list of spells I want to make. I want to make
Right.
the armor spell for Wendy. Now we need some ways that she can see, and I'm trying to find a way to set your axes.
Okay.
I have been trying for so long to set your axe on fire.
Like that is like since you first said it, that has been on like my to-do list.
You bring the illicit up into the library. Do you make any effort to keep him hidden from the rest of your party down in the entryway? Or do you just walk the illicit and his gross drow thrall directly through the middle of God and everyone?
Yeah. That seems like a bad idea.
Let's back up. Do you tell Bronzel and the rest of the prisoners, hey, we have an illicit friend?
That wouldn't be weird to us.
I think I did tell Bronzel.
Okay.
Because the question was, we weren't sure what the situation was, but we had been told something by the Illithid. So we told it what we were told by the Illithid to Bronzel, telling him who told us.
Okay.
I think he said don't trust the Illithid. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So I think we'll get the party out of the way so that when they come through the Illithid comes through the entranceway, they're not there.
Okay.
And we let the Bronzel know, hey, this is the last thing we need to do before we jet.
And the last one through the room should be the Illithid. So he'll tell us something about the ghosts that we don't know.
Well, what do you ask him?
I don't ask him anything. I just want to see if he reacts.
He reacts very favorably
To the
in this
ghost.
room. And he tells you, through his drow thrall that he's grabbing on with his bizarre tentacle hand, he tells you he will require several hours of study.
Okay.
And, I mean, that strikes you as strange, because this room, you could spend years poring over these texts.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a big old skull, which means he's probably got a big old brain inside it.
No,
I'm gonna use some magic shit.
It tells me that he knows exactly what he's looking for.
And that's exactly what seems to be the case. I mean, he goes directly over to certain shelves, pores over a couple books, draws them off of the shelves and brings them over and sets them on top of one of these tables.
I say we
Does this
we
with
let
7
him
or 8 tomes before he begins poring over them, reading through them.
I say we get some provisions for the for the refugees and let him do his thing.
Yeah, we can use this time to like start getting together our provisions for leaving.
Okay.
We didn't. Did we ever? There's no kitchen in this place.
I'll stay here with the Illithid because 1, I'm blind, and 2, I can fight off anything that comes to take him out.
Okay. Amongst the rest of you, let's get a survival check. You can make this as a group, so
Who has
one
the
person
highest
can make the
survival?
roll, and then somebody else who is trained in survival can aid them on it.
I
I'm
think
trained in survival.
I've got a 9.
so is Raazu. So Raazu's
How do you
trained.
have a... Never mind.
He has a 9, I think he wins.
Okay.
And
So-
yeah, Birdie can make that an advantage.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
It's an 18 plus 9, 27.
Okay, you managed to gather together enough rations, knowing what kinds of things to avoid from the mushroom forest now, what kinds of things to not eat.
Birdie.
Yes. Correct. Don't eat the birdie.
Wendy, do you do anything to interact with the Illithid in the library during the time where he's studying?
I mean, unless he seems extremely angry about it, I'll try to figure out what it is he's looking into. Wendy's extremely curious,
Okay.
and she can't see, and it's very clear that this is frustrating the hell out of her in this library.
So, I mean, does she ask him at all?
Yeah.
So what do you ask him?
Essentially just trying to like figure out. Well, one, Birdie wants to know what this library was for, or Wendy wants to know what this library was for, like what the drow was interested in collecting. But
Okay.
two, just like kind of what he's looking into.
He asks you if your winged people, the place that you hail from,
Mm-hmm.
have any natural enemies. Is there
Gargoyles. Wendy actually says flying rocks.
He asks you to describe the enmity between your winged folk and these flying rocks.
And Wendy
Actually,
goes into
first,
great.
He clarifies that you mean an actual rock and not like the rock, the giant country-sized bird.
Right, and Wendy goes into great detail about how these aberrations of nature are made of earth and yet soar through the air as though they belong there.
And after you describe this to him, he even says, gargoyles.
Wendy nods furiously.
He asks why you destroy these creatures.
Because they shouldn't exist.
But they do exist.
Not for long when I see them. And then Wendy looks, frowns, so she realizes she can't anymore, and her hands clench.
He's like, how many gargoyles have I walked past in this dungeon? She runs downstairs. Guys, if they're gargoyles, you have to tell me. He asks you by what metric you determine that these creatures don't have a society, a culture of their own.
And Wendy responds that even if they do, they certainly don't seem to feel any inclination to not attack our own culture. The crimes and travesties of gargoyles are many and varied.
So you would say that the crimes and travesties of gargoyles are that they are gargoyles.
I would say that it is their nature which causes them to commit these crimes and travesties.
She asks, or the Illithid asks you, through his drow thrall, who he's grabbing on his skull, what would you say to a man of the South who would say the same thing about your kind? Or that of your friends, the dragon people, the hobgoblins.
And Wendy kind of grimaces, and she says, that's why we built a wall.
Does Wendy believe she built the wall, like the Aarakocra out there, laying stones?
I mean, makes sense. We can fly over the wall, they can't. Problem solved.
He tells you, make an insight check, at disadvantage, because it's a fucking Illithid who's grabbing onto a drow.
As they're talking about the nature of the monster party, the camera cuts to Adrex, who's just scratching his armpit and just furiously scratching it.
Is
Nah,
the
I'm
webcam
gonna-
on, though?
Oh yeah, camera switched.
I'm gonna blip that, so that's a nat 20.
He tells you, as it is with the winged folk and the gargoyles, so it is with the drow and his people, the Illithids. He tells you that the knowledge that he's recovering here was stolen by Inkacha being an outcast of her own people, who saw merits in the studies of Illithid magic, where her people only saw monsters. And he tells you that this is Inkacha's greatest strength, the ability to throw off the shackles imposed upon her by her society and culture. And he tells you that this too is his greatest strength. And you, listening to him, he seems to regard any form of culture, any form of like civilization, a people coming together amongst their own race for mutual benefit. He sees this as slavery. Being a slave to one's culture, in his view, is no better than being a drow thrall grabbed onto by a tentacle hand. He sees himself as free from Illithid culture. This is forbidden knowledge that the Illithids had compiled, that Inkacha stole from them, that he has come to take back, and you realize that if his other people knew he was here doing this, that he would be in big trouble.
And Wendy nods to herself, and she says, "So you're saying there might be things to be valued amongst the gargoyles?"
He tells you that he has never met a gargoyle.
Wendy's thinking clearly.
He wouldn't know. After several hours, you guys come back from gathering up provisions, and you don't have nearly enough for everybody to eat their fill, but you have enough for everybody to have several bites at least and fill their bellies. Bronzel assists the Wemmick priest, who has broken limbs and no eyes. Wendy's the only one up here in the library.
After Birdie would have started going through them, looking for any obvious like magic runes, and then just immediately discarding it over his shoulder in every book.
So after a few hours,
Wendy's just behind him, catching them and putting them down gently.
yeah, after a few hours, his study is complete. He compiles these books up. Birdie, you don't find anything of note. Just kind of at random, running around the room. It's just text after text of written in Inkacha's hand. And the Illithid leaves all of the books on this table when he stands and turns back to Wendy and Birdie. You guys have to fight an Illithid in this room all alone now. Awesome.
I don't know about that.
No, he tells you through his drow thrall that he has one more request to ask of you. He says you've proven considerable mettle and trustworthiness. And he believes that if you acquiesce to his request, he might be able to reward you greatly in the future.
All right. What is the request?
Safe passage to the Sunlit Lands. He wants you to take him with you when you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I see no problem with that. No way this will end in tears.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Gonna free an Illithid.
Trying to be clear every time this guy talks, he's speaking through a drow thrall whose head he is grabbing and mouth is moving.
Is he an orc?
Not an orc, no.
Listen, we
Yeah, no
don't
problem.
have very high opinions of Drow because red.
Less
We are-
because red, and more because we argued in favor of a drow, who then did immediately exactly what Red said she would do.
Yeah.
And we're a party of monsters. Like,
Monster's a human word.
Yeah.
well, then what are we a party of?
People.
People.
Ask an Adrex question.
We're just some dudes, you know? Birdie.
Yeah.
Actually, before this, the Illithid tells you that should you need a name for him, you may call him Griagro.
Griagro.
Ah, you have a name.
Excellent.
All right, Gregor.
Adrex asks him, "Oh, you have a name," and he tells you that that is not his name, but that is what you may call him should the need arise.
What does it mean?
And he tells
Keep in
you
mind, Wendy introduced herself as the pattern which is formed as the wind flows through the sands.
he tells you it is merely a word in a language no longer spoken. Birdie,
That's cool.
he hands you one of the books that you discarded. And he shows you in one of the pages that you disregarded because it didn't have runes on it. And to you, it just looks like a a funny collection of spiral patterns. But he tells you it's a map of the surrounding area of the Underdark. That's been encoded in such a way that only Inkacha can read it. But having studied at this table in this place, he is able to navigate the map. He can safely bring you to a passage that will lead you back to the Sunlit Lands. And then he asks for your counsel on what to do with his drow thrall. No opinions? I have to imagine at this point that my Discord is broken. Let me get back in there and... Oh, yeah, no, Discord's frozen. That's great. I can fix that. Go into the task manager here. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. And reopen Discord. Letting people know that I'm restarting Discord so they don't freak out without me. I was talking myself for a moment. I mean, technically that's all streaming is in general, is just talking to yourself. Where is my Discord button? Even my Discord button vanished. Oh, my whole computer might be crashing. That'll be interesting. You see if OBS is still running. Yeah, OBS is still running. Give me a second here. What's happening?
Do 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 do.
All right.
You should.
I think I've got Discord back up now.
Yeah. Hello. I hear you, Brick Road. Do you hear me?
I don't. It doesn't look like I have Discord open. I can hear people talking,
Hey, Brick Road.
but
Hi,
like,
Brick Road.
I don't have a Discord window open anymore on this computer.
That's fine.
Discord does run in the background, so it might be like on your.
That was weird, man.
Don't question
That whole situation was weird. You know what it was? Is I had to eat Chef Boyardee, and the computer was like, no, he has to be taught a lesson. What was the last thing you guys remember me saying?
You were talking to the Birdie was talking about
Map in a book.
Map in a book, yeah.
Okay. So he shows Birdie a page that to Birdie's eye just looks like random decorative spirals. But Gregor tells him that this is a map of the area encoded in Inkacha's hand. And that having studied at her table long enough, he's able to decode the map and safely lead you to a passage that will take you back to the Sunlit Lands. From there, it's going to be your job to get him to safety once you're back above ground.
Oh. Thought we just had to give him.
You thought what?
I thought we were just giving him like a ride to the. I have an idea. Let's take him to the Pigman village. It seems like a good idea.
He's working under the impression that the people in the lands above would kill him on sight.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
Have we ever even heard of something like him before we came here?
You guys specifically hadn't, but only because you decided you hadn't. Only because your characters had decided you'd never met or heard of Lithids before. That's not to say nobody has.
Nobody has, but like it could be enough to say that like they're not that common. So we could maybe get away with bringing him somewhere, as long as he's not
Well,
actively malicious to people.
as long as it's on our side of the wall.
Right, exactly. And we're not gonna bring him to the other side of the wall.
no.
He asks for your counsel on what to do with his drow thrall.
Well,
Where we're going, it wouldn't be socially acceptable to take another one. So if you can keep him alive, otherwise you're gonna have to deal without not talking.
He tells you through the drow that whose skull he's grabbing onto that he finds the act of speaking to be unpleasurable anyway.
All right, then yeah, as long as you can deal with
not talking to people.
not talking to people, then it's fine.
But it seems like you have other avenues, don't you?
We need to communicate with him, so... Like, if he needs to say something to us.
Birdie raises his hand and says, I think it would make the humans uncomfortable to have the giant tall guy with the tentacle and the drow brain. Like, has anybody else thought of that? Is that...
They're human.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Birdie. I'm perfectly fine with making the humans uncomfortable.
Same.
They can deal.
Then why did you get...
They've been... You know what? They've been through a lot.
I'm not saying we kill the humans, we're helping them out. But if we go to the effort to help them out and then they can't deal with traveling near this man...
Yeah, beggars
Yeah.
can't be choosers, guys. Come on.
We tell them after we got half of the children killed.
Hey, the other
No.
half are only not dead because of us, and that was Birdie
No.
anyway.
No, I got all of the children killed.
Yeah, all the children died. There are no more children.
I mean,
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
you're welcome. Get it right.
Birdie,
And
no
I say, if
child
it's going to
killer.
be...
I didn't do it on purpose. Intent matters.
And then I pat the map in front of me, and I can say we can make it clear to them that our companion here is the one who provided us with this map, and he's the only reason we're able to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that the
And
plan
they
when
se-
you go back
and
down and
they
you explain to
seem-
these guys?
Yeah.
I mean, I figure we can go down and talk to them before bringing him down, but yeah, that's the plan. If they have a problem with it, I mean, tough.
Who takes the 3 spellstones that you recovered?
I mean, I've got them in my pack.
Yeah, I think we're fine with Birdie having them for now.
Okay.
Can we even
Yeah.
get them away from Birdie without initiating combat at this point?
We have had Birdie has proved himself trustworthy in the past with magical items. That's not an issue that we've ever had with Birdie.
Hey, no.
Do me a favor, and everybody at home. Go to the previous video on the YouTube.
That wasn't a magical item we gave him.
It wasn't even a magical item.
The water finally drains from Adrex's ear.
So
It
yeah,
clinks against the ground. The reason why it was so hard to get out is it froze.
Who's the last person to leave the area as you climb back down the ladder, back down through the library room, and then down the stairwell into the entry? Who's the last person to climb down from here?
The elephant.
Oh.
He's coming down last?
Mm-hmm.
I would say-
We need to talk to the party, the group first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And as he leaves, as he steps out onto the floor, as soon as he does, and there's nobody left upstairs, the pillar slowly rises up into the ceiling until
What?
it's secure into the nook in the top. It rises up a full 20 feet.
Huh.
To be clear, after he steps out.
After he's climbed down and stepped
Yeah,
back on this, I mean, he sent his thrall first, then he
Yeah.
came down after that. Once he was on the solid ground, the pillar rose back up into place.
I wonder if
mean
that means we
there's-
can go back and get that
And
wand.
get that wand. Yeah. We should look. Wouldn't hurt to look. Treasure is treasure.
Who goes to check the wand?
I'll go.
Okay.
Birdie will go.
Yeah, Birdie can go with Raazu, and the
Yeah.
other two of us who are maybe a little bit better about explaining things that aren't threats.
And it's probably best that I'm not there.
So
Yeah.
Razu's going?
Yeah, Raazu will go with
Raazu to
Birdie.
scare away the monkey people.
Razu can scare away the monkeys, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raazu's pretty good at that.
Razu's going alone?
No, with Birdie.
Birdie's going.
Okay. And you guys get back around after the long trip all the way down the stairs, the really steep, kind of foreboding stairs that go way, way down deep through the spire, across the bridges with no border, through the terrible monkey jungle, wrapping all the way around to the pillar, and the recess is empty. There's no wand there.
That's bogus.
Then how do they keep...
Raazu puts an arm around Birdie's waist and hoists him up and carries him back because she does not want to deal with his fits. 'Cause I know there's a fit coming.
There
Right.
was no fit coming.
Just a single tear.
I do wonder who took it.
It probably got put somewhere.
By who?
I don't know. This whole tower is bullshit.
We need to go to less bullshit places.
Whose idea was it to come here?
No.
Yours?
Technically, it was Nodal's.
I
We
don't.
don't know. We don't know who
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, we don't know anybody named Nodal.
Windy and Adrex, you two are trying to convince the remaining prisoners that it's okay this Illithid is coming with you.
Well, first we're gonna tell Bronzel because he seems like he can convince the others if we convince him.
What do you tell Bronzel?
We tell Bronzel that the Illithid was instrumental in us dealing with the dangers of this tower, and that moreover he found for us a map that we're going to use to escape.
Bronzel
Yeah.
tells you that he will defer to your judgment, but that he would counsel you with great fervor against this course of action. That trusting a creature like that will lead to misery and death for these prisoners.
Mm.
If he
Yeah,
has a
that's
map
Jason.
that you need to find a way to safety, his suggestion is to take it by sword.
We're the only ones who can. He's the only one who can understand the map. It's coded.
He
Yeah.
tells you he
We could
sure
maybe
told you
figure it
that.
out if we were given enough time, but I don't think your friends have that time.
Yeah.
And again, Bronzel tells you that he will defer to your judgment. He's not. He has neither the strength nor energy to.
I tell him
steer you from
actually
this
we
course
would
of
feel more
action.
comfortable about it if him and his people and the Illithid spent their time as far away from each other as possible. So if he'll do his part to keep his people away from the Illithid, we'll do ours to keep the Illithid away from him.
He assures you that there will be no difficulty keeping his people away from this Illithid.
Okay.
That's good.
Glad we come to an understanding on that.
Adrex chafed a little
He
bit.
asks you
at
if
the
you
nature of the
know
monsters.
what creatures like that do.
And we'll tell him about how we observed him dominating the drow. And I'll tell him about what I sensed when I had this psychic ability.
He tells you the difference between a drow slaver and an Illithid slaver is that when you've worked to the point of exhaustion, the drow allow you rest. The Illithid devour you.
And I tell him we'll keep that in mind. We'll be on our guard.
Okay.
He hasn't devoured us yet. You know I have a breath weapon, right? Like, I can just spew cold, kind of like, no, in my nature kind of thing? No? Okay.
It's like, you know, an Illithid's like a CR5 monster, right? He does not give a shit about your 3d6 breath weapon.
No, it's Adrex's point is more the way he keeps bad mouthing, like, oh, it's in his nature to do these evil things because he's a different and he's an other. It's just like, beggars can't be choosers, buddy.
Okay. The journey following Inkach's map is very long indeed. Do you guys still need this tablet out?
No.
No, I
Good,
think we're
it's
good.
gone. Screw that tablet. I hate it. I hate it
I don't
twice.
hate it, but
I don't
got
hate
enough.
it.
I kind of hate it because every time I load it in, tabletop's like, oh, am I going to crash? Is everything okay?
I don't like the fact that it constantly needs to ask me, hey man, you cool with opening up this file? It's like, dude, I told you yes once. I'm not going to change my mind.
What if you do change your mind, though?
Then I'll
Yeah.
go into the options.
It's like on your phone when the website asks if you want to go to the mobile site. Maybe you'll change your mind. It has to ask you every time.
I'm going to go.
No.
The journey back takes about 2 weeks and leads you to an area in the mountains of the Underdark where there's a vast underground lake. And following it to the source of the water, you find a bare trickle of water coming through the stone. The map leads you to a passage behind this trickle where it winds up to where this water is dripping, and you follow it, mostly by sound, by ear, the whole way. And where the drip eventually becomes a flow, and the flow becomes a torrent, and the torrent becomes a river. And you eventually come out in the swamplands up in this area of the map. Which is relatively known to you, because this is kind of where Red is from in these swamplands. And you make sure that the prisoners and the Illithid kind of keep their distance, and neither party seems particularly perturbed by this state of affairs. They're perfectly happy to give each other a wide berth.
Yeah.
Shortly after coming to the surface, shall I mark on the map where you've come out in case you want to use this entrance again later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Put an X here, and then I'll make a note to put the entryway in the map there. Shortly after coming to the surface, Gregor excuses himself from the group. He tells you he'll be gone for about an hour, and he would prefer to not be followed.
All
Okay.
right.
That's not suspicious at all. Okay.
What do you do about it,
He's
Adrex?
pooping.
I mean,
He's just
I'm-
pooping.
I'm gonna go follow him.
You're going to try to make sure you're not seen?
Yes.
Okay, make a wisdom check.
Can I just grab onto him as he tries to do that, and I'll say
Sure.
he can sense your mind. You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
hide from him.
Oh, I thought I was thinking Bronzel. Sorry.
No, this is Gregor.
No.
This is the Illithid.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
The reaction from the various humans and things you get to the surface, these are humans that were born in bondage. These are humans that have never seen the sun. And even though the place you come out is this horrible, nasty swamp, this just really just fetid, disgusting, and not particularly well-lit area, the joy on these people's faces, their horrible, fungus-covered, pale, milky faces, is... You've never seen anything like it in your entire life. Gregor goes off by himself, and about an hour later he returns without his drow thrall. He seems like he's bothered by the sunlight, and you're not standing in direct sunlight because you've got a lot of cover coming from the trees overhead. There's kind of a canopy as these swamp trees reach up into the sky. He
Does he
doesn't
seem bothered?
complain, but he does seem bothered by the direct sunlight.
If you're looking for somewhere where it's relatively well protected to set up shop, there's this cave that we used to access the Underdark. If for whatever reason you had to flee back down there, it would provide you with an escape route from the surface. And in addition, we happen to know it's relatively safe except for orcs nearby, which I'm sure you could avoid.
He asks how commonly the orcs are in this area.
And I'm going to be honest with him.
They're lousy.
There's
Lousy with orcs.
He tells you that he does prefer a secluded location, and that such a cave, provided it could be made secure for his purposes, would suit nicely. Go ahead, make an insight check there, Windy.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to tell me he's going to eat these orcs, that's pretty much the reason Wendy recommended it. That's a 14?
Yeah, he tells you the orcs aren't going to be a problem, and you think, yeah, he's going to eat him some orcs.
Yeah,
He
and
will
we're just like,
subsist
okay, problem solved.
on a steady diet of orcs. So, the lesson we've learned today is that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, whether it's an illithid, or a monster, or a birdman, unless you're a fucking orc.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're an orc, the answer is no.
Our party has tried so hard with orcs.
Did you?
And been
We are
bitten
done
every
with
single
them.
time.
It's funny because this part of this mess starts with us trying to free prisoners of orcs.
Yeah, we are, like, if you are asking us who this party as a whole is done with, the answer is orcs.
To be fair, both Raazu and Birdie didn't try very hard.
So, I mean, you've got a week or so journey to get back to kind of any civilization from your location. Because I mean, you have to travel, unless you have a way to breathe underwater. You have to travel around this river, and probably around the mountains as well, because you're not going to forge a path. So, like, where is your destination from here?
Well, guess what we happen to have?
A boat?
We happen to have a way to breathe underwater.
Oh, that's right, we do.
Targets
I don't
one
think
creature per charge used. It has 5
No, it's
charges.
10 creatures per charge
You've got
used.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people.
I thought you could do more than one person per charge.
Nope, this one targets 1 creature per charge used. You can do 5 at a time.
Alright, so yeah, we can at least have no problem getting food, because we don't even have to fish. We can just swim in there and grab them.
No, and you guys are happy to finally be foraging above ground again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much better. Oh,
Says Adrex is like half a squirrel hanging out of his mouth.
it's so much better.
Do you name the squirrels before you eat them?
Mr. Squirrely.
Is it always Mr. Squirrely?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
the same squirrel. It's great.
Squirrels respawn.
Yeah. Adrex eats a squirrel, poops him out, and then the poop changes back into a squirrel, and he eats it again. Circle of life.
That's
true.
horrifying. Okay.
No, that's how it works. That's how D&D works.
So what is the... Red made a commitment to take these humans, the rest of the prisoners, down to the wall, way down south.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
That's gotta be a thing, because they still won't survive on this side of the fucking wall.
They're not going to survive even if we march them right now. They need a place to stay. And
Also, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not super fond of the idea of these guys staying here anyway. It's not really their place.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they're not gonna. Like, are we gonna really march them weeks?
We're not
down
gonna
south?
frog march them. We'll let them have time to recover.
So where do you take them to convalesce?
I think a Serafal is probably the best choice we have.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think the
really
pigmen are gonna fight them.
Okay, do you take Griagro to a Serafal?
Gragro, I think, we'll drop the guys off in a Serafal, and we'll take Gragro to his all-you-can-eat orc buffet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's brought with him some of the materials from the
In
tower,
patches.
plus a collection of his own notes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wendy's just like, oh my god, I thought they were all gone when that tower disappeared. That's amazing.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take some downtime actions for the remainder of the session. Give you guys time to do some in-betweeny stuff. Griagro requests a list of materials, some things that will help him get established in this cave. This is going to require some downtime work to do. It's going to require you to travel. It's basically going to require somebody sacrifice their downtime action to see to this list of materials that will help him get established. Is anybody willing to do that?
I'll do it.
If I can't, I was gonna say if I can't think of anything for Adrex to do, then yeah, Adrex can do that.
Okay.
But if I also know
I mean,
that
I'm blind, so
Windy is curious as hell, so
I'm also blind though.
maybe we tag team this.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm thinking.
Wendy and Adrix are going to do this together?
Yeah.
Okay. Taking the humans to a Seraphal. Humans are not well received, but with the help of Bronzil's Silver Tongue and you all vouching for the people here, especially the Mokden that you brought back from the Feywilds, are especially sympathetic to the idea of these people having been born in bondage and recently released. So they agree to help them nurse them back to health.
Get them strong enough for the journey south.
Next campaign, we should play slavers.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I played a slaver campaign once. It wasn't D&D. It was a game called The End. That turned into a pretty fun game. It was the kind of game that would probably get me kicked off of Tumblr, though. So.
Gross. All right, what's up?
All right. Let's take a week's worth of downtime actions. We'll probably take another week next session to give Red a chance to do some stuff too if he wants. So Adrix and Windy, you're spending this time kind of crisscrossing the local mountains and forests, getting Griagro this list of materials he needs.
Yep.
Okay. It's a lot of herbs and things. It's a lot of very strangely and carefully prepared animal carcasses. Like, he needs certain animals to be caught, and he never defines them by species. He always defines them like by look. Instead of a squirrel, like, he needs an animal that climbs trees with its claws.
This is right up Adrix's alley.
And like, he needs the brains extracted from these creatures and preserved.
Kind of Adrix.
I mean, whatever. We'll eat the rest. You're talking to a dragon man and a bird.
Okay.
We're good.
And it takes you guys the week to get all of these materials for Griagro. And when you come back to his cave, he has kind of made the place as homey as can be expected.
Has he found an orc to replace his
Just wondering that. Does he have an orc thrall already?
He tells you that he has made contacts with one of the local hill tribes, and he describes the Yak folk high up in the hills, and tells you that these people have been kind enough to take on commission for various furnishings he's going to need. A workbench, some comforts, perhaps a chair to sit in, these kinds of things. Windy, specifically, knowing Griagro a little bit at this point, this probably was not a 100% consensual and amenable
Hey, man.
deal on part of these Yak folk.
Live by the mind control, die by the mind control. We've dealt with these yak men.
And he does. He gathers all these materials. He thanks you for all of your assistance. You can see where he has... Well, I'll ask this. Did you point out the connection to the cave that you took down to the Underdark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then he's blocked this off. With stone that he's apparently sheared away from the walls of the room.
Cool.
Did you tell him what was on the other side?
Yeah, we gave him the rundown because basically it was Wendy's thought that, like, hey, if he needs a quick exit ever, I'm sure he can deal with some kobolds.
Okay.
And we kind of owe one to those kobolds.
I'm upset. I wanted to go back.
Go down with the kobolds. Remember, hey guys, remember when you guys did us raw? Well, we let an Illithid move in next door, so enjoy that.
Have fun with that, assholes.
Remember when we offered to be your allies, and then you did, like, dropped an entire tunnel on us? Like
That
a
was pretty
whole
funny.
one.
That was pretty good.